everyone. Welcome to the VATcast. Today is Sunday, June 8th of 2025, and welcome to this month's VATcast. We didn't have one last month, so this is also last month's VATcast. And we have a great show lineup today featuring our guest, Hivie. It's not Hivie, we have established. It's Hivie.
Hello.
And for everyone who doesn't know, the show is hosted by the Vocaloid Appreciation Team. We do things like the Vocaloid mapping contests, watch parties, organize collaborative mapping projects, and we just hang out like actually every week. So if you're interested in supporting or participating in any of those things, go ahead and join our Discord community. You can find the links below on whatever platform you're watching. We, of course, do encourage audience interaction during this show since it's live, and we're monitoring the chat throughout the show. If you have a question you want to ask Hivie, or you want to participate in the conversation that we're having, go ahead and post it in the chat, and we'll bring it up on the show. And then if you would, and you like the show, please consider supporting the show by liking, subscribing, or following our accounts. Leaving comments, likes, and feedback is always appreciated. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and get started. How are you doing, Hivie?
I'm doing overall fine. It's the start of the summer, and I just finished like my university year, so I have a lot of free time that I sometimes don't know what to do with.
Yeah. Well, you can always waste it on Osu, right?
Oh, of course.
I don't know how you have free time for anything, actually, with what you do. And we'll get into more of those things later.
Yeah.
Are you graduated, Hivie? Or
the upcoming year is my last one. I already got my bachelor's, and I'm working on my engineering degree right now.
oh, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How you doing, Nafi? It's been a while.
I'm just sitting here like, I'm wondering what Hivie could be studying and learning when he already knows so much. But, yeah.
Honestly, a lot.
Oh my goodness, that's
like all computer science stuff.
As if you didn't already make an entire Discord bot and run multiple websites and God knows what else.
Yeah,
there's always more to learn.
Well, I thought it was so funny when I joined the contest committee. I was like, "What the hell? There's a whole website that Hivie made. Like, what is this?" That somehow I never knew about.
I think it's new.
Yeah, it's pretty new. It was like a month old when you joined.
Oh, okay.
Like we published it around March.
There was stuff on it that went way back. It looked like, but I'm guessing you just ported it in.
Yeah, I just ported old data. Yeah, we basically just ported everything regarding the tournament committee to its own website, so we get out of like Google Sheets hell, because it's so painful to manage and it gets so laggy sometimes.
Yeah, tell me about it. I mean, you were in the mentorship program organizing for a while.
Yeah,
it's painful.
Yeah, all of my mentorship tenure was like interacting with sheets. I almost went crazy.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
You would love working in finance.
God, when you like change one cell and like the whole sheet breaks instantly. I did it when I did it the first time. I was so scared. I thought Okoratu was just gonna murder me.
Okoratu, I don't think opens the sheets.
I'm pretty sure it's a rite of passage to break the sheets.
No, for real though. We all do it.
It's a rite of passage. You have to break the sheet at least once. Fortunately,
I haven't opened the sheets in forever. Like besides like some of them, but like all the mentor pairing things, we generally use the small offshoot of Mappers Guild that Pishy made for us.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that.
Yeah,
it's still pretty handy, but we're still kind of stuck on sheets for other stuff.
I mean, that's like the cycle, isn't it? Like you start something new, You do it on sheets because it's accessible. And then it slowly grows into this ginormous monster, and you're like, what the hell? This is pain and suffering. Like, for example, that happened with the QAT, and for example, that happened with Mapper's Choice Awards, and for example, that happens with mentorship. And we're doing it again.
It's a constant cycle. Like, funnily enough, I went through the exact same thing with Daily Challenge recently. We first started with a sheet because we thought it's going to be like a lightweight project and everything. But then, after a year, everything just became so laggy and unreliable. I just had to make another website for it. Yeah.
You know, somebody in the chat made me realize that I totally just kind of glossed over a pretty important detail, and that's Wafer is now a co-host for the VAT cast. So yeah, totally just forgot about that. That's new.
I can't believe Wafer would do this.
Yeah.
It's always my fault.
It's always
it is.
Wafer's fault.
Wafer's fault.
Wafer begged me, like, on his hands and knees. He's like, "Oh my god, I really want to be on the show." Is that how it went, Wafer?
Yeah, you forgot the part where I injured half-slashed so I could take over. But
What?
other than that...
Did you mail him up? You mailed a pipe bomb?
Yep.
God damn it.
People mailing pipe bombs these days. Wow.
I think it's an Avalon reference, actually, but
So true.
I was running a multiplayer session in the VN server earlier, and someone else made that same exact reference. What the?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's an Avalon reference from way back in the Cherry drama days.
Oh my god!
I think.
I think it's just a meme that was spawned in 2020, and then OSU players have just carried it over.
It's classic OSU players.
It's too funny.
No, it's not.
Surely.
All right. So, at the beginning of the show, we generally like to talk about recent news that happens since our last cast. So, in the month and a half or so since the last one, we have currently the Fantasy World Art Contest. The applications for that, or the submission window, I guess, for that just opened. We also had MCA 2024 results that were announced. So I will go ahead.
MCA was definitely a thing.
MCA was definitely a thing. I agree.
Yeah.
It was like MCA 2018 and 2024.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing. Was there were so many random maps from not this year, not last year. I mean, why was Probox on 3 of them? Honestly, I think one of the biggest surprises was seeing App on top user. I don't know if I really saw much of what he did, but maybe you guys know more.
I have no idea.
I think there's a recency bias. I mean, App has been showing up a lot in 2025, so I think people just voted for a familiar name. Although I'm not familiar with anything they did either in 2024. So.
Okay, well, fair enough. I'm not the only one then. Obviously, of course, Aika also got first. It was tied. And Aika is just always around. And yeah, Hivie got second place for top user for Taiko. L.
My streak is finally broken.
Well, L because he didn't get first.
True. I mean, I kind of disappeared Taiko-wise in 2024 because I got deep into the OSU internal hole.
Mm-hmm.
Focusing all about the NAT stuff and the tournament committee and everything internal, basically. I couldn't spare a lot of time to the Taiko community.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And congrats on 3rd place for Storyboard, Nafi.
Oh, thank you.
And Wafer got, I think, 1st place on one of your maps, right? Or something like that?
Storyboarding. didn't.
Okay.
Not me, but my map did.
Yeah.
Proper team made a
Yes.
killer storyboard, and
Yeah.
that plays highly on like every single category.
Yes, it did. All right.
We're
Well,
all winners here, besides me
so
and
that-
White.
So half
well,
and half.
you're a winner by proxy, wafer. I no. What's funny is that like I did end up getting to vote, but I didn't think I would.
Mhm.
The only contribution I did to the rank scene last year was nominations, and that was and apparently that actually qualifies you to vote.
Oh wow!
Nowhere does it say
Yeah,
that is the case.
I had no
Well,
clue.
if you're good enough to
Yeah.
choose what maps are good, then you're good enough to choose.
Well, that's
what-
exactly that was the logic that I had, but nowhere does it say that that would qualify you. So I think Nafi reached out to the organizers and confirmed that.
Yes.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm probably a pretty unusual case though, of, a nominator but not doing anything else. So yeah, that. Oh, and the other thing that happened just today or yesterday is that Menti applications for the 30th cycle of the mentorship program are now open. There is not a news post yet. That news post will come out tomorrow because organization is hard. But if you guys want to get a mentor in mapping or modding or storyboarding, hey, Nafi's a storyboarding mentor right now. Go and apply, and yeah, make great Vocaloid maps. Okay, so that's all the recent news that I have. So yeah, let's talk about Hivie then.
That's me.
All right, Wafer. I know you're dying to ask questions. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I am so excited to talk to you about this. I wanted to talk to you about how you got started with mapping. More specifically, how you got started with Taiko. If I recall correctly, you started with standard.
Yes.
And so I wanted to see or hear from you how you transitioned from standard to Taiko.
Okay, so do I start with like my like standard, or do I want
Wherever you want.
Why don't you start with like the day you were born?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so
Mother's maiden name.
Okay, so I was born, and 18 years later, I was chilling with my friends in a VC. Okay, I was like trying to make like a practice diff. It's like that was my first interaction with the editor, and I thought that was kind of cool. So I mentioned to my two friends, what if we just start like mapping? So yeah, each of us like made a map, we played it, and like we obviously like glazed each other about it. Like, yeah, we're so good. Yeah. And after like a week, they quit, and I didn't. Yeah, so here we are. I'm just like, so I kept like on mapping, like pumping up my second map, my third map, asking for feedback, spamming modding queues, like every new mapper. I got like some valuable feedback that I started like building upon. And then I made like my first like barely rankable map. So where I got 1 BN for it. I think it was Newton.
Okay.
Yeah, they modded it, but they never rechecked. So I was into that like doomed cycle of trying to find a second BN and failing. And from that, I like hit a wall basically. It was like on my 8th map. I felt like standard isn't working out for me. And I was watching, like trying to improve like by any means possible, like watching PCFat videos. Which is what actually got me into Taiko, because I watched his Taiko video and I got like interested in trying out the mapping for the mode.
Really?
So PCFat got me into mapping Taiko. So yeah, I reached out to like an NAT, like asking for help, like as a complete beginner. I forgot who that NAT was. I think it was Tiestiana, like the Taiko NAT back then. And they redirected me to the Osu Taiko modding and mapping hub. And from there, like I met very some very nice people who helped me around. I made like some unforgettable friendships, and here we are.
Beautiful.
So, yeah,
That is beautiful. I can't believe Fishy Fat got you into Taiko.
yeah.
Misconception of newer mappers switching game modes when they're struggling in standard. Just so they have an easier time. Right? So that's interesting that Fishy Fat is the cause for you switching game modes. Thank you, Fishy.
Thank you, Fishy.
Sort of tangentially related. Does the song Happy Time mean anything to you?
Oh my god. Oh no, my god. No, please. That was the map where I was talking about. Where I got like the first BN and I just hit a wall of doom. Hear that?
I have been sitting on that tidbit for like 5 years, and I had no clue if I was misremembering. So
okay, I'm actually sending pipe bombs to you. Oh my god.
Hey, no, we don't need to do any of those. Yet.
Yes.
Are you okay if I clarify a little bit for the chat on what that situation was?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so on this map, Happy Time, Hivie was struggling to rank it, as you just said, and then IO Exception was pushing a set of the same song, or was it Keitaro? I think it was Keitaro.
It was Keitaro because I got an IO Exception like GD on it.
Right.
Then yeah. And then Keitaro like took IOE's diff. You could continue.
I don't remember if it was you or people getting upset on your behalf, but then people accuse Keitaro of like plagiarizing the map and stealing diffs from your set, which was honestly really funny in hindsight, but as a new mapper, I can totally see how that would demotivate you.
Yeah, it was me, and in my defense, I had like 5 months of like community experience in total, so I wasn't familiar with the process of like transferring GDs and whatnot. So in my like POV back then, I thought like Keitaro stole the IOE diff, like whatever any other diffs I had, stole them. The thing is because it had the same exact background. I think that's what like tripped me. So yeah, I crashed out on Keitaro over that.
Oh my god!
I would like to apologize to him for that.
I think your actions have more than made up for any wrongdoings you've made.
Absolutely not. He must forever servitude to the Osu community for that transgression.
Oh my!
White's right.
Bringing up suppressed memories in here.
PTSD, Vietnam flashbacks. Oh my goodness. So that was the crux, the catalyst for switching over to Taiko. And how long did it take you to, do something in Taiko? What was like the first major achievement, I guess?
I started mapping on January 1st, 2020. And 10 days later, I got my first nomination.
Holy.
So
what the hell?
Yeah. So yeah, that back that like boosted my ego a whole ton and got me very hooked on the mode. So yeah, I just kept like pumping out maps and like basically like super integrating myself into Taiko. And then a couple of months later, I think, or a month, because like after that first nomination, not a lot has happened. But after like a month or so, I managed to get 5 qualified maps at the same time.
Jesus.
What?
Yeah, like from 0 rank to like 5 qualified in like the same few days. So yeah, I was grinding Taiko a whole ton.
Honestly, if that happened to me in standard, I would never touch Taiko. Like I've touched Taiko a few times, so like that ego boost from 5 qualified maps at once as a new mapper, holy.
Yeah, that was crazy. I think it was a double-edged sword because it like over boosted my ego and it halted like my progression, like my improvement progression a bit. Because for a while I thought I was better than what I actually was,
Mhm.
As
which
it
like
is.
went on for like some months and after a while I took an extended break where I focused on my high school graduation exams and whatnot. So I took some time to reflect and and I focused on actually improving my mapping before I like keep on spamming rank maps.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Like eventually like I calibrated and like I started like to actually make good maps that I'm happy with and people are happy with.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was basically just a phase.
Baby mapper phase.
It's not a phase, Mom.
I think I went through something pretty similar when I started mapping standard. I made like really crappy jump maps and I got nominations. I was like, oh my god, my maps are the best.
Except you got wall modded first.
I don't. How many mods are in my second ranked? Like 200?
Ooh.
128.
Yeah, yeah, a couple. Yeah, you know, a few.
It's okay.
Wait, was it Roxanne?
No, Roxanne was
Oh,
like number 8, I think, number 10.
Oh,
I
I
think
see. Because like
that's
that was
Roxanne was like
like
the
your first
pivotal point for me.
Roxanne. Yeah, that was like my first impression of you.
Hmm.
Like your first Roxanne.
With the devious panda. Oh yeah.
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 And then you went on to map it 6 more times.
he'll map it another 6 times, I'm sure.
It's only
Okay,
4 more.
we need to slow down our reverb version right now.
I haven't even gotten to Nightcore yet. Hold on.
Oh my.
Keep it up. Like get going, you know? It's not mapping itself. Yeah, I think everyone goes through basically I think every new mapper goes through this like Dunning-Kruger, period where they think that they're way better than they actually are.
They're not usually ranking maps during it.
Yeah.
No. There's definitely
Yeah.
plenty of mappers that rank maps but are not as good as they think they are. That was
Yeah.
always like
I mean,
that was
yeah.
always my mentality, I guess, as like a BN was, I'm not gonna rank somebody's like, new person's map just because they're, new. I'm not gonna lower my standards for that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
In large part because I don't want them to stop improving, right? Like there's definitely a large portion of people that, they rank a map, they get it in their head that this is all they need to do, like their maps are great, and then they stop improving. And it doesn't really do any services to anyone. But
Mhm.
I can totally see
That's
that
a very severe pitfall.
yeah, no, but I can totally see like why some BNs are like we should cultivate their motivation by like supporting them and nominating their maps even if they're not amazing right now. So it's not like I can't see that perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fine line where you're like alternating between like helping people improve or like just like inflating their ego.
And then you definitely see people, I think what's so funny is sometimes you'll see people like in standard who have like 10 ranked maps in standard. And then they just go to Taiko because
Yeah, because they think it's very easy to rank maps there, and for a while it was. It's like it's very easy to start like getting into mapping Taiko, but it's hard to get good at mapping it because there's a lot of like gameplay oriented. Because yeah, it's very gameplay oriented to map, and you have to understand the mode and how certain patterns play for in order to like use them in a way that's like good.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's still very easy to just like follow the basics and make something rankable out of the box. That's why
Mhm.
people tend to jump ship.
yeah.
What would you say is so you mentioned, you took a period of reflection. Um, what would you say was the biggest realization you came to after you came back from that period of reflection? Obviously, you wanted to improve your mapping, but like, where did you go to sort of make yourself stand out and make your mapping more unique, to say?
My main, it's basically, it's definitely like mapping higher difficulty stuff. That's what like hit me the most in terms of like the reality check you're referring to. Like I was like fine maybe mapping 4 and 5 stars. Like most of my earlier maps were just that. Like when it got into the harder stuff, like I would just struggle. And like when I ask for feedback, people just dislike it, and I didn't understand why. And people couldn't like at the same time they couldn't explain very well why my map sucked, because it's something that can be understood via gameplay. And back then I wasn't like playing the modes.
Right.
So I focused a lot on like understanding how patterns play and like how they like flow into each other. I studied that in a theoretical sense, which is much harder than doing it like via actually playing the game. And because like I spent a couple 2 to 3 years mapping without like learning the modes, like learning how to play the modes. But I learned how to map the mode, which was like a significantly harder like progression for me. But it paid off because I managed to rank an 8-star, an 8.74 star as a futsal player, a 2-star player, where it's actually good and players attest to it being good. That was kind of my proudest moment back then. So I just kept on like focusing on that mentality where I should focus on like how the maps play instead of how they just look or how they represent the song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that map Tool Assisted Speedrun? Or
Yes.
got it.
Are you
Yeah.
still a
Also
Futsu player?
What?
Are you still a Futsu player?
No. I now I actually play maps because I can play 6 stars now. I don't play as frequently, but I can like confidently play Inneronies now.
Nice.
Which has further helped me understand maps and like so now I can make stuff that I truly enjoy playing.
How much do you think that a mapper has to be able to play pretty competently to be like a good mapper? Like, do you think it's possible to be like, you know, a Fongen sort of tier mapper as like a bad player?
It's not. I wouldn't say it's impossible because I took that path, which is like it's a path of like more resistance, and it's definitely the harder one. But I wouldn't say it's impossible. I just like the first advice I give to people is to play the mode. Like whoever asks me like how to get into Taiko, I just tell them to play it because it would be infinitely easier for them to understand how to map it when they can actually know how it plays.
Yeah, I give people the same advice when they're, you know, people who, you know, want to learn standard. I'm like, well, you want to learn standard, but you're like 7-digit, you know?
Yeah.
You
Like,
gotta
you
get
don't
to
understand.
like 300K or something at least, you know, playing insane diffs before, you know, it's even worth, I think, wasting your time.
Yeah, kind of the same in Taiko. I usually encourage people to play up to Oni level, which is insane. Because your regular inner Onis tend to be like denser Onis. So you'd be understanding a lot, like just from your Oni experience.
Definitely. So, how did you end up working your way into the BNG?
BNG, it was not very like remarkable because I was like focusing on mapping. I'm used to like mod here and there because like I had to like mod for mod to get like BNs and whatnot because that was more common back then. So at one point, one of my friends got in, and I was like, "Why don't I just try?" So like I started focusing like very hard on like like studying, basically like studying how how to make good mods, asking for feedback and whatnot. I basically grinded and over prepared before submitting my first BN app, which thankfully got me in from the first try.
Did you have any help getting in? Anyone you want to shout out?
I did. I want to shout out GameLand4. He helped me a lot, like understand the more advanced stuff of BN modding. He's kind of quit the game nowadays. He just does like Project Loft stuff, but shout out to him.
Thank you, GameLand.
But like, the sense I get is that you got onto the BN very quickly after starting modding. Do you know like the timeline on
that? I used to like mod loose. Okay, I started mapping like on January 1st, 2020, as I said. I used to like mod like lightly, like just to get like my M4Ms. So I wasn't like modding seriously. But like after 7 months or 8 months, that's when I started looking into how to like properly mod for BN basically. So after a few months of preparing, getting enough kudosu, because yeah, the limit was 150 kudosu back then. I don't know if it's still that way, or I think we removed it.
Is there even a requirement for kudosu now in any mode?
I honestly forgot. It's been a while.
Standard's 150, right?
Is it?
For everybody, it used to be higher for standard. That's what was changed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so back then I had to like reach the kudosu minimum, which is like 150. I applied with like 170.
Wow.
And but I got in with like 170 kudosu, but I spent a lot of time like seriously focusing on how to properly mod. Like I studied the RC in and out, and I've been looking at a lot of like past BN apps, and I got in. That was the start of my OSU contribution journey.
Have you tried to become a standard modder?
Not really. I did mod a tiny bit, like to get like mod for mods from like other mappers back when I was just only mapping standard, but I never really got into it. For standard, I just enjoy mapping like from time to time. Like once a year, I rank a standard map nowadays.
Shout out to what is that one Mimi song? She ranked it like 2021, and I was like, oh, Hivie's back.
I forgot the name. It's Shijima Nisaku.
Yeah.
That was my first. Yeah, that was my first standard map. And for some reason, it was like it got weirdly popular in terms of stats. Like yeah, that was like 800 favorites and like 2 million plays for some reason.
What the hell?
I don't know. I think I made it like farm for like lower players. I don't know.
Accidental farm.
No, the
300 PP. It's not even 300 PP anymore. You're lying.
Oh, back then it was.
2021
oh my god, it got nerfed so hard. Back then it was like 300. This is so messed up.
The accidental PP farmer, Hivie.
True.
Accidental.
So it took you less than a year to get BN from the time you started mapping, or is it a little over a year?
It's a year and 5 days exactly.
Oh, okay.
Like from like Taiko to Taiko BN, that was a year and 5 days.
All right. And then you were not a BN for very long before you became NAT, right?
No, I spent like almost 2 years in the BNG because
really?
because getting into NAT was like significantly harder for me because you know how we just don't add NATs unless we actually need more people. So yeah, I was kind of struggling to find an opening to get into the NAZ.
That's fair because there's definitely less demand for it in the other modes compared to standard.
Yeah, back then the BNG, the Taiko BNG was smaller, and we had 3 NATs at a time, sometimes 2, but that was usually enough. But not until the Taiko BNG got significantly bigger. Then we went to 5. So I got added with Dusk, another Taiko VM. It was in November 2022.
How do you go about applying or reaching for NAT? I know it's a little bit different for each game mode. But how was that process like for you with Taiko?
Taiko, since we had like everything centralized in the Taiko modding and mapping hub, it was easy to interact with BNs and NATs there because they interact there on a regular basis. So like it's kind of like the benefit of a smaller community where just everyone knows each other. So you could just ping them or like when you interact with them, like you get more comfortable with them. You like then talk in DMs, and then you could like make friends with NATs. Yeah, it was like it was easier compared to standard because the community was like so small.
For sure.
Yeah, you definitely know everyone, and I mean the standard BN is so big now.
Yeah. I can't believe
still
like
remember...
a year. I think it was a year ago where like Mania almost outperformed standard in numbers.
There was a period where Mania did have more. I'm pretty sure.
You're so right.
Yeah. And then we started BN mentorship and then added like 6 billion BNs.
Oh my goodness.
Easy.
What do you think of that program yourself?
I think it's overall. I think it's good to have an alternate path to joining the BNG, but it's kind of like it like takes a lot of bandwidth from like our end, and like after a while, it feels like we only like add people solely from mentorship because of like BN apps like plummeting and people counting more on mentorship. So yeah, numbers wise, it would look like apps are like performing badly compared to BN mentorship, which is something we want to fix.
Well, I
actually we had
BN mentorship.
Yeah, we had a proposal.
In
yeah, I was gonna mention we just published a proposal where we would rework BN apps so we can lower like the barrier of entry in exchange of having like more scrutiny within the probation period. Let me find it. Yeah, that one. We can link it in chat for context.
Thank you, Nafi.
But yeah, thanks,
Nafi's
Nafi.
got it.
You're welcome. I have everything on speed dial.
So we want to like put more attention towards apps so we can balance the output of like new candidates from BN mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
I just find it so funny that so many of these suggestions are things that I was proposing in like 2021. Like BN mentorship. Like I was like, why is there not like some pathway that's not an application? Like I don't know if I don't think anyone was really around, but I was proposing like to like Okaratu and Uberzolik and mentorship to like work with the NAT to get some kind of pathway for mentorship modding mentees into the BNG, that kind of thing. That didn't end up happening, obviously, because you guys went your own way, but yeah. Vindication, if you will.
Time is a circle.
Oh, true.
Every idea just like keeps on repeating itself every few years.
Yeah, that's very true. One of these days, veto button.
Please bring back the nuke button.
Yeah, the nuke button. I misspoke. Sorry. Yeah, the
that's what you
the Kibblero nuke button.
That's a little different.
Oh yes. I misspoke. I apologize, Nafi.
Not okay.
Not okay. No forgive.
God dang it. All right,
Pipe
see you
bomb?
later, guys. Just like the question mark pipe bomb. Chat, do we send pipe bombs?
Can we start a poll?
Yeah, a time for a poll. Democracy. We can't argue with democracy, Nafi. Come on.
Democracy? I don't believe in that right now. I'll believe in it
Too topical.
in 2 days.
Oh, wow. Wafer had the nuke option post on speed dial. Holy cow!
Oh my. Bro
That
has
just-
it bookmarked.
Yeah, right. I
Just
thought
gotta
it was.
imagine Wafer like looking at it every week and trying to manifest it becoming a reality.
What's interesting is that this is a Deca proposal, and Kibblero was the one who posted it. So it wasn't actually Kiblero's idea.
The more you know.
Yeah, but I could be misremembering that, but I'm pretty sure that's.
No,
the
you're
case.
right. You're
Yeah.
right.
Okay. What would you say that the hardest thing you've done as an NAT, like, was the hardest decision that you've made, Hivie?
Hardest decision. I mean, I would like put instead of like a hard decision, I will point out like a set of decisions, like which are always hard to make, which is like internal like team kicks. Basically, they are very hard to like execute, like mentally and like from like gathering everything, like. Because usually it's like very hard for someone to be removed from the team, so you really need a good reason to do that, and the confrontation usually is not pretty at all. So like each time I have like any of those has to happen, it's just very mentally daunting.
I mean, you're almost like in a manager position, right?
Yeah.
And that's a lot of pressure, especially if you don't build up those skills from like other experiences in life, right?
Oh, certainly. Like I'm learning with everything I do in here. So like I am making mistakes and trying to learn from them.
You're
Absolutely.
not perfect.
Which like makes things rough sometimes.
How's your? I mean, is Radar still a NAT leader? I'm a little out of the loop. Do you have any
he is,
support?
Yeah, he is like he's still helping with stuff, albeit a bit less involved than before, but he's still like leading the team.
That's good. At least you have some backup.
So how did you end up in the position as NAT leader anyway? Because obviously you were NAT, and then you suddenly were NAT leader with Radar, and then Radar left, and then you were the solo and NAT leader.
Yeah. Okay, so when I joined the NAT, like things were kind of like disorganized, and like through like the few months I spent in the NAT, I already tried helping a lot with stuff, like by being proactive. And it culminated in March when like I forgot the exact details, but it was like a series of discussions that like further disorganized us. I think it was involving the advisor stuff. Like back then we had like the quote unquote NAT advisor position where we'd have someone in the team without having them to eval. So that went kind of rogue internally due to like whether people questioned the purpose of the position or whatnot. And things got like pretty disorganized and messy. And so Radar suggested the idea of bringing back leadership because we need people to dedicated to actually organizing things, pushing stuff, and like having overall internal representation in the OSU team, like NAT wise. Because back then we only had Mo and Naxxus and Pishi to a lesser extent in the OSU team, who are also NATs. So there was a demand for that. So and since Radar and I were like already very involved with like NAT stuff, it was a unanimous decision to have us like in the leadership position.
Are you sure it didn't involve pipe bombs?
Yes,
No, true.
I cannot comment on that.
It's confirmed.
What the hell?
No, he's like, why is it pipe bombs?
No.
Well,
yeah, that's the story.
It's clearly the great Taiko, something or other.
Sure.
Takeover.
The great.
If only they had a more active game mode.
True, actually.
Taiko has all the best stuff, by the way.
Yeah,
Like they get
always
all
has
of the
the
best
best
songs ranked first. They get all of the best tournaments.
Yeah.
Like GTS was built different, and they get all of the best. I don't know. It's just
Yeah,
you guys
it's
should know
easier to
better.
experiment in Taiko.
For sure.
Yeah, the smaller mode definitely makes it easier for sure. You know, tighter knit.
Yeah, also
Everything.
kind of easier to map, which like
Yeah, like
you'd
the
find like
speed of
set songs
mapping
are
is
slightly
nice
easier to. Yeah.
because like that's like one of the biggest things about doing creative things in standard is that if you ask people to do too much, they just don't do it, right? Because it takes so much
Yeah.
effort to map even a single difficulty.
Mhm.
So plus it's
Whereas
very
Taiko can reach the
divisive.
extent of live mapping it. Like for lower diffs, you could do that.
We do that in standard too, don't worry.
Don't worry.
At least according to my comments.
Nah.
Sorry.
We don't even do that. We just AI map it now.
No, we don't.
Hell no.
True.
Don't even speak that into
Oh, hell no.
existence.
Yeah, I know. But I'm sure that there's been AI maps ranked already. Like, let's be real.
Yes, by
Open AI
somebody in
hard.
this room.
Oh my god.
Okay,
So true.
I think I ranked the first AI map, probably. But like back then, we didn't even have ChatGPT. It was when OpenAI released, like, did their first public release on the autocomplete thing. So what I did was like map a bit, feed it like the .osu like code in there, and have it autocomplete for me. And I'd like take the code back and add it to the game. I just kept on repeating it until I had something somewhat rankable. I think I ranked it as like OpenAI's Futsu.
Yes.
Yes. So good.
Yeah, I think this is like the only instance of ethical AI mapping. It's like it's not trained on actual like mapping data.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a little scary to see the developments with generative AI and mapping.
Yeah,
I know I've
sometimes you
gotten
can't even
some.
tell the difference.
Yeah, I've gotten AI generated requests already.
Oh my.
And I think it's a bit more obvious in standard, but for game modes where
Oh,
there's not
definitely.
like planes of visuals and movement and stuff, I can imagine that's tricky to discern.
Yeah. I mean, I
How-
don't
how
even
are
want to
you-
imagine it for Taiko, honestly.
How are you identifying the AI ones, Wafer?
Usually it's people without like a ton of mapping experience, and the patterns or the rhythm are just too good for their level of experience. But also, it's like the map's not coherent. It'll have a bunch of like patterns that are cool, like nothing builds off of each other, or like there's no like progression. It's just patterns, and it's like,
There's no overarching structure.
right.
Yeah. That's just bad mapping. It's not even AI.
But individual patterns will look like just perfectly okay mapping.
Yeah. That's funny. One day we won't even need multi-accounts. We'll just have AI accounts.
We don't need multi accounts. We just need a. There was a proposal. I don't know if it ever went anywhere, but I know Ephemeral was in support of it vaguely.
Oh yes.
For
Ephemeral-
mapper pseudonyms.
Yeah, Ephemeral really wanted like something of that kind, but I don't think it's ever gonna happen due to like lack of internal interest.
Right.
Yeah, Ephemeral brought it up on our interview with him last episode.
Yeah.
Or actually, was it 2 episodes? I don't remember. But yeah, mapper pseudonyms. I don't really know why it's not happening. I think most people would want it.
I think it's just complicated.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
holding up an entire like different personality, especially when like we rely a lot on like individual interactions during the ranking process, because you'd have to DM the BN and you'd have to like interact with the BN directly and then interact with them in the discussion thread. So it would be very complicated to do that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
One can hope.
True.
True.
Related to your NAT leadership position, you were the NAT leader during the whole shenanigans that happened last year, resulting in less NAT oversight in BN or on BN work, at least for standard.
The subjectivity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, how do you explain some of that direction? Like what? Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that was easy for you, right?
Okay, so okay, from my POV, how it happened was like I was like lurking in evals STD. People were talking about them like the eval and whatnot, and we're about to ship it. So like I saw that and I went to sleep. When I woke up to like have the team resigning. The other half is fighting like internally about this. So like it was utter chaos. Like I couldn't even comprehend what's going on.
Oh my god.
So like I had to like back read thousands of messages. That's what I spent my evening on. Until like I fully like grasp what happened. But then after that it was like too late to reverse anything. So we just had to like deal with the knee-jerk reaction. But yeah, it was very chaotic. It was like I think one of the I'd classify this as one of the worst moments of like my time in internal.
Oh wow.
Nafi would probably say the same, right?
I've lost more hair before.
Really? Okay. Do tell.
Oh.
Don't want to relive the trauma, I see.
There's second instance of PTSD on here.
Oh, the beard is so real.
No thanks.
Nafi just sticks it out, you know? A trooper.
Somehow.
I just found my first message when this happened. I literally just said, like, what did the... I don't know if I should say this on stream.
You should.
Yeah. I straight up just, like, I woke up, I opened my phone to just, like, check stuff, and I just see, like, everything going on, and, like, this is, like, my first thought of waking up. I just blurted out, what in the flying fuck did I wake up to? And I got like 17 reactions to iMessage.
That is
Sounds
so
about
cursed.
right. It's a tough life. Tough life being NAT.
Yeah, we just cannot win in the NAT.
No
Maybe
winning.
one day.
Let's see. Is there anything like if you could do anything as NAT, which you know, anyway, if you could make one thing happen, what would it be?
If I could, one thing I truly wish for is for people to be more proactive in the team. Because I understand how like being an NAT sucks right now, and it's hard to actually do stuff and like be motivated to do said stuff, which like makes it, which is like a cycle of resistance where like people not doing anything will just discourage even more people, and like vice versa. So like my true wish is to break that cycle. I did take on like I've like recently like I've decided to actually try to push for this as like my last attempt of like fixing this. So I would hope that comes into fruition.
What would you like to see people do in like particular? Because I think
I
that
would like them to like be like more responsive in discussions. I would like them to be more like open, like minded in discussions, like instead of like being very resistant to change. Like dabbling into too much details.
Fair enough.
That's mainly the gist of it. Yeah, so it's basically all internal conflict.
Really? I thought I don't know. I thought VNs would be a bigger headache, but
No, you see, actually, we have a war grounds at all times. We have swords and archers and everything, and we have
Yep.
scheduled battles to determine the outcome of our war. But no, because NAT has to work closer as a group, you end up with a lot of different headaches just from making that teamwork work. Where a lot of BN stuff is very, very individualized. Like you check a map by yourself.
Mhm.
Maybe every now and then you'll get opinions from the second BN or the mapper, and that's about it. But if you're coordinating like 15, 20 people and you need to get them all on the same page, it just becomes a whole other realm of dealing with people.
That makes a lot of sense and sounds miserable. But
I feel like I used to have tons of ideas for like things to do, but now I just don't.
it's called burnout.
Oh man,
okay.
don't.
Burnout's very real.
You're getting too old.
Oh man, I am. I'm like 2 or 3 generations old at this point. It's my time.
Yeah,
to
so you're
quit.
like 40 years old now.
Yeah, exactly. Midlife crisis. Oh man. Wafer, you've gone through like 20 of them, I think, at this point, right?
Hey.
Only like 4.
Okay. Let's correct our thinking a little bit. It's like 2 midlife crises and like okay, it's like 4. Yeah, I think part of that is, I was on Osu at a really, really young age. And Osu was like the only creative outlet I had. So it was really easy for me to get invested. And then also because it was the only outlet I had, it was really easy for me to release any frustrations I had through Osu. But now we work at 8 to 5 and everything's okay. So
yeah, having like other things that you do makes Osu just like way less of a priority. It's hard to care as much when you're like, well, I have like a job now and that's more important. Like
yeah, it becomes something you actually look forward into doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Wafer's arcs were just basically part of growing up from what this sounds.
I mean, dude, I was like 14 or something when I first got BN. So
Oh.
now I'm 28, but yeah, I mean things
you're
happen.
not 28. Don't fucking lie.
Yeah, nothing even existed for that 14 years.
Don't lie. Now you're gonna get everyone. Cinephew 6, like extremely loud, incorrect blood buzzer.
Nobody will ever know Wafer's real age. I wish I had more free time because, like working full time doing instructional design and then having a business doing art tutoring and then whatever the hell's I'm doing on Osu. Sometimes I'm like, holy shit, how do I have enough time to sleep?
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it, honestly, Nafi. And how do you keep the motivation? I don't think I can do it.
I take breaks.
That's fair enough. Yeah, like being a BN was just like after a while, like having a job and getting home and like, oh, I do more work to stay as a BN. Like I think one of the things I'd like to see change is just getting rid of the activity requirements altogether for BNs. Because then, people like myself would be able to nominate maps that we like, which helps, like, in general, right? But without feeling the pressure to nominate the garbage that we don't. Because there's definitely people out there that would come back to BN. Which is very different from when I was a new mapper. I was like, why are there these BNs that are only getting the minimum activity requirements? Like 3 maps a month? Like, come on. Like, why are they even in the BNG? When they clearly don't have the time for this. But now I'm like, I get it. I really get it.
Get it.
Well, now it's 2, so it's even easier.
Did they put that through, that change?
I think so.
Okay, nice.
The minimum is now 2.
Nice.
Next
Still,
year it'll be 1.
No.
what do you mean no? Let's make it happen.
But I think if there's at least one thing I'm proud of, it's helping push to make rejoining easier over the years. Because,
It's
it
much
used to
better.
be really hard to leave and come back. Resigning was hard. You had to personally message an NAT and they had to process it, and that would be a lot of pressure. And then once you did, if you ever wanted to rejoin, you'd have to go through applying again, and that was just...
Oh yeah,
That was
I
hard.
genuinely think this is like one of the best changes we've ever did.
Definitely one of the best.
It reduced like a lot of pressure and like unnecessary effort,
Mm-hmm.
and allows for people to just resign, to take breaks, and like rejoin whenever they want. Because like I know countless people who were just like scared from resigning and like the small chance of not being able to make it back. So they'd stick to a minimum activity.
Yeah, and when you need a break, the quality of the nomination goes way down. Like the amount of people that just YOLO nominations when they're close to resigning.
Hey.
Like Wafer and I definitely can attest to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time I've gotten burnt out, I don't know why I don't just resign, but every time I get burnt out, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't stand modding right now, and then I get kicked for YOLOing, and it's like, oops.
Well, like I think for me, it's like by the time that I realize, like, I need a break, I'm already behind on my activity. So if I resign, well, then I'd be resigning below minimum activity, and then I get kicked, right? So you feel that pressure to get the minimum activity so that you can then resign on good terms.
Yeah.
So that's
the
it for
terms
me,
is
I
not
guess.
that hard to get.
Well,
I think
you have to
somewhere in the
have
wiki.
right. It's not hard to get, but you have to have above minimum activity, right? Like you have to have met that.
That's not the case. We apply some leniency to people below minimum activity.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
Okay.
it's pretty understandable. It's like, oh yeah, this person was just cleaning up their like last 3 maps.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so like we'd let them out on good terms anyways. The
I
only
should've
time like
resigned.
you'd risk like standard term is when you're actually about to get warned for like map or modding quality or
Or like if
behavior.
your activity was below minimum for forever and ever.
Yeah. Because like then we'd want to actually see you mod before we let you back in.
Hey.
Good to know. Good to know.
Take notes.
I can abuse the system even better now. Let's go.
Yay! Isn't that wonderful?
Yay.
I know.
I mean,
I'm just waiting for a reason to rejoin, honestly. In the sense of having 1 or 2 maps to nominate. I'm waiting for UC to do things.
I can make 2 maps a month for you.
Fair enough. All right. Let's do it.
Oh,
wait. Then I'd get warned for only nominating wafer maps.
Yeah, do it.
No.
No, we'll
Yeah,
just
do
punish Wafer instead.
Oh, okay. That works for me. Wafer YOLO maps anyway, and I get warned anyway. I think that happened once. You fucked up something, and then I got punished.
Yeah. Yeah. That's not the first time that's happened.
No, definitely not. No.
Hopefully the last time. But
I feel like I definitely I remember like the first time that like I quit or whatever, and it was just like I remember talking to Fuju about it. It's like, yeah, you got really unlucky. Because like I had like 3 or 4 like really unfortunate events kind of back to back that were like sort of my fault, but also kind of not really. Like the Soul Fear incident.
Oh, that's a tragedy. I forgot you were on that.
Yeah. And it wasn't even like a map that I cared about, but it was one that like UC and Aika like begged me to nominate. And I was like, okay, fine. Yeah.
Unrelated to any network, Hivie, you do a ton of developmental work. To be insight, tournament sites, daily challenges. Are there any plans to move any of that to something more official, like an OSU like domain or something?
The issue with that is Osu Web is a very complex and very involved, like in terms of development. So you'd actually like have to have someone fully learn it and like have it like work on it as a job, basically.
Gotcha.
And like you'd have to like meet like the expectations of Peppy and the core dev team and stuff, which could make things harder to implement, like understandably so.
Mm-hmm.
But like the great benefit you get from like external website is just you can have like your own agency on it. Like you could do whatever you want in there, like within reason. It's very easy like to go, for example, to use like simpler tech basically to make it instead of having to go through like OSUWeb, which is very complex. And you could like easily get changes in because you just have to add them yourself instead of waiting on like someone else to like review them and like add them in. So
That makes sense.
That agency is like very valuable in these projects, especially when we actually need time sensitive stuff.
Is there, I guess, tangentially related? Are there any plans, or do you have any ideas for making these sites more accessible? I ask this because I've been talking to a lot of newer mappers recently, and they have no clue the BN site exists. They don't know how to find BNs. They don't know how to request them. They don't know how to apply for BN. Right, and unless you have friends, it's like...
Yeah, we have wiki pages for that, but I'm not sure how like more we can add on that. Maybe you could make said wiki pages accessible. Like have like a popular guide to mapping, which like lists all of the tools and whatnot. We can have that on the wiki, like maybe advertise it more or something.
Sure. That makes sense.
I think back when we had nominator cycles, it kind of advertised itself, and that used to be really useful.
Yeah, because of news posts, like they're on the front page and very accessible.
What about like, I mean, I'm sure this has come up in the past, but I don't think I've seen like a real proposal for it, of making all BNs have like a centralized place for taking requests.
We tried.
We tried multiple times and it failed.
Nobody wanted to use it. I think Osu mod that somebody made is the most successful one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just like a queue like website where everyone has their own queue. I think White is referring to like a global queue. And we had that in two formats where we just have like the regular global queue where people just put in maps and BNs can like go there and take them. And we had like the BN like finder, like the tender, the BN tender basically, where people would submit maps in there, and like BNs would go through them like in a Tinder style like UI where they just like swipe left or right on maps.
Yeah, I
got used like for the first few months and then it died down.
So, I think the problem with those is that it doesn't tailor the requests to the BN very well, because like with people's individual queues, they can really customize it to how their workflow works, and by the fact that you're applying to individual BNs, it sort of also curates the requests, because people generally aren't going to request people that know are going to deny it or know aren't going to be interested. Like I wouldn't request like some avant-garde map to like Broviich, for example, right? So it's kind of a waste of Broviich's time to have to then go through and deny that request. But even just having like something where all BNs are required to only link to like maybe the BN site for their requests, and then you can go through the BN site or something like that, right? Instead of individually linking their own spreadsheets or whatever. That way, on everyone's profile, you'd have that link to the main hub, where then people can get more exposure to it.
That would kind of be like Osuwan, but like formalized in the BN site. Which is like, I'm not like fully sure on this, if this would be worth like putting effort into, because we already have the platform Osumod, and it's already like acts as a hub for all the queues. So like the main change we'd do is we'd force BNs to use it, which I'm not sure if that would be a good like thing to do.
No.
Yeah,
No, I don't think it's worth
like
forcing them to do that.
BNs to go like to use one like queue system would
No,
be very,
and that's not even what I'm suggesting. But I'm just suggesting
Oh,
having making every BN link to the BN site or something like that, where then on the BN site it would link to their preferred method of requesting, right? Then it increases
Oh,
exposure to
okay,
the BN
okay.
site, where then people can see what other people are doing, right? But I think right
Yeah.
now you have a lot of these BNs where people are looking at the user page or like the user list for BNs to request, and a lot of those BNs don't include a link to the BN site. So then
Yeah.
people don't get exposure to the BN site, where then they can see the whole list of BNs and
Yeah.
how those BNs want to get requested and that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. I want you to go to the BN site, the homepage, and click on any user in like the list. You'll find like exactly what you're asking for.
Nobody
Right,
knows
but
about
the problem is that nobody
Yeah.
knows about it, and the exposure isn't there because they're
So,
going to individual OSU pages instead of the BN site.
So the change would be like to have BNs like have them link to their like BN site, like request page.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Or even
Yeah, I see some merit in that, but like this should probably be more discussed. But, like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
personally like
There
I
may
like
be
the
other
idea,
ideas.
but
It's just one
Yeah.
idea because we talked about the exposure isn't there. Wafer brought that up, right?
Yeah.
For newer players, and it's just because people are unaware that the site exists because they go to the user page, the user list, and they click on a BN's name to request them, and that BN doesn't mention it in their bio, of course. Because
Yeah.
why would they? Why would they care if you go to the BN site when you're already on their page?
I already have some ideas, but I'll have to see if they actually work later.
Other ideas are great.
Yeah, this is definitely something to think about.
And maybe even, if you can get Peppy on board, maybe you could have like an actual UI element for requesting BNs on the actual user page or something like that.
We
but
requested that, and the
Peppy.
feature request died. So
Oh,
yeah,
Again.
tragic.
there's a
That's just
lot of
classic.
stuff we tried and like just didn't like stick.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's how it is.
Unfortunately, so.
My first idea would be to at least add the BN site links to the group pages. That would be the first step.
Ooh.
That
It's
could
like when you-
possibly be arranged. If
Yeah.
you just like give me the wording, I can like go yell at Pepe or something.
All right, I'll think about it later.
All right, see you in a year.
No, like in an hour.
Like, yeah, like the edit is very trivial. We just have to like we just need to wish that he would be like cool with it. That's it.
I hope so, but that's the real thing. It's like linking to offsite stuff has always been kind of iffy. Like I remember back in the day, just getting mapset verifier added to the wiki was a struggle because it's like, why are we
Yeah.
recommending external tools and not AI mod? And it's just like, well, AI mod doesn't
Yeah.
check shit, and that was hard.
He really doesn't like advertising like third party stuff, and understandably so.
I still remember when I went to the old Beat Mapping World Championship wiki page, and I clicked on their website link, and their website was gone, and it took me to a scam website. And I was
Wait,
like,
do we need to get
"Oh."
that fixed?
No, I already
Hello?
brought it up. We already fixed this before, but like,
Oh my.
I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's catastrophic. Because like you have no control over third party stuff. You don't know when it fails, when it just becomes like scam websites. That's what's his main concern is.
But to be honest, if the insight failed, I think we would have bigger problems.
Yes.
Please do not make me use goddamn QAT sheets ever again.
Yeah,
You know,
oh my
we used to manually count activity. Like, we would go through someone's Kadosu, we would go through their nominations, we would find all of them. We would write them down in a sheet and count them. Oh my god.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. Things are so much better now. I love you. And Fishy Fat.
Definitely fun. Yeah.
Ooh, Hivie,
Um,
actually. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut
Yeah.
you off, White. I was just looking at my
You're
notes.
good.
Did you know your SSL cert is invalid?
What?
On Hivie.tn, it's invalid.
Is it? Well, I did not know that. Oh my god. It's like,
Ah, my goodness.
oh no, I never check there because like I always like add websites to my subdomains because that's where I usually check and those are fine. I never check the main website. It's,
I didn't
it's
even
just
know
like
there
a
was a main.
landing page where it just has my links. So yeah, I have to
Oops.
look into that. I didn't even notice.
That's tragic. That's tragic. And
Well,
this
now
is
you
why
know.
we don't put it on official sites.
Yeah. It's over.
You're getting fired.
It's true.
Oh.
The button is being pressed right now.
Oh no, that.
By you?
No, by the community.
He's
or
secretly
something
interacting
right
with Peppy right now.
now. Yeah. Yeah, it's just crazy. Like, I I was like really blown away by the fact that I joined the contest committee, and then it's like, oh, Hivie does a lot more than I thought. And then I was like, how the hell does he have time for any of this?
That's a good
I mean-
question.
Yeah.
Did you know he also manages love too?
Oh
On
yeah.
top of everything else?
Yeah.
I mean, for transparency, at one point this became a job to me. Like back when ephemeral started stepping down, I had the opportunity to step up and like truly like dedicate like my time and effort on like OSU as a job. And I'm like forever thankful for it. But yeah. And other than that, like I still like genuinely enjoy my time in here. Hence why I still like keep on like doing everything that I do.
Mhm.
Because like first and foremost, I love like doing stuff in here.
That's good to hear. It's really good to hear. It's really reassuring to have someone that still has passion for the game in a position like yours.
I do try to do like what's best for everyone. Because like the community is like also has given me like a very unforgettable experience in my life. Hence why I try to like give back as much as possible.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You got any major projects or news you want to announce coming up?
Honestly, not really. Because like my main priority right now is the NAT. It's like the last few months I've been really struggling with like getting things done there. Because like I unfortunately had a surgery in back in January, February, and like I had to recover from that. And after I recovered, I had to go through exams. So like I had a lot of like downtime for NAT stuff. So that's like my main priority right now.
Mhm.
No, that's
I would hope like to get the NAT like more in touch with the community. I would and like make the NAT role more enjoyable for people to like participate in.
definitely. Yeah. I mean, the NAT is evil, right? So.
It's so true.
That's what I've read.
You need to banish all NATs.
It's the blood of our enemies.
It's
True, the
always
color
like-
is literally red. From us all along.
They're all vampires. They love to watch people suffer, especially new mappers. They love watching new mappers suffer.
They do. It's a big plot.
And this is why wafer maps are nominated, is because wafer has an
Yep.
in. Yep.
Yep.
It's favoritism.
True.
Yep.
As
I've got
the
black
Mango
mail on
wasn't the
everyone.
real psyop. Wafer was the real NAT psyop.
How much can we
1,000
get players to
years.
hate the game? Oh my god. There's 1001, actually.
Not the rounding error.
Do you have an opinion on like map quality or anything like that, Hivie, or are you just like people nominate what they want and I don't care?
Honestly, I like the concept of quality and like the subjectivity with like good maps standing out. But that's clearly the direction. That's clearly like not the direction that the community is heading towards right now.
Mhm.
So like working directly against that is unproductive and would just lead to problems. So I like what I think we should like what's best to do is just like navigate around what the community wants and like try to look out for what's best at current times. Because I if I had a button that like would like bring back subjectivity and which also makes people happy, I would press it in an instant. But that's clearly unrealistic. So we'd have to work with what we have right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fun times. The button that brings back subjectivity. The nuke button. We can call it that.
True.
Well, anyway, it's been about an hour and a half, so we will let Hivie have the rest of his. I guess you're probably gonna go to bed soon, right?
No, it's 8 p.m. I'm going outside.
What? You're touching grass?
Wow.
Yeah, I need to touch
Wow.
grass sometimes.
Holy cow! At 8 p.m., that's an interesting time to do it.
Yeah. I mean, going out with friends, like just having dinner and drinking and whatnot.
Sounds like
It's
a good
a
time.
Sunday.
I can't believe
It's a
Peppy's
Sunday
letting
and
you out
it's
of
like
the
summer break.
I can't believe Peppy is letting you out of the NAT dungeon. It's crazy.
Oh no, just don't tell him.
Dad can't get angry if he doesn't know.
True.
Oh my goodness. But anyway, well, thanks of course to everyone for watching. And like I said, we're gonna let Hivie have the rest of his evening.
Thanks for having me. I've had a great time.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad.
Yay.
Thanks for joining, and thanks for Wafer for being here, and to other ones as well, other future podcasts that he'll be here for. All right.
Thanks, Wafer, for mapping Unbreakable yet again.
Of course.
Oh.
Same time next year.
Same time next year. Is that a promise?
It is a promise. Absolutely.
Oh my
God. With you joining VAT, you need to make the Vocaloid cover now.
We were just talking about this. Oh my god.
We'll get the MIDI. We'll get the MIDI. We'll do it. We'll do it.
Just
This is terrible. This is terrible. And it has to be a Vocaloid of Wafer's own voice, I think, for it to be great.
no. Oh no.
It has to be
Were you-
Hatsune Miku.
Oh, okay. We're doing Miku.
Because she was in Fortnite, and I love Fortnite.
The whole video is just a compilation of Miku. Okay, we're getting a little on to another topic. Let's let Hivie go get out of the dungeon.
All right. Farewell, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a good night.
Good night.